Good morning, lads and lassies, welcome back. So today's video, I'm just doing a short video today. I am doing a bit of a parent appreciation video, something that's close to my heart, because obviously if you watch my videos, you know me, you know that I am a father to a daughter. So it's more recently that, you know, I felt like I've not needed to make the video, but I've wanted to make a video about parent appreciation, because oh my goodness, when it's tough, it is tough. So, you know, hats off to all the parents out there that, you know, are coping with kids that aren't sleeping well, that, you know, they're holding not just their own home life together but job life together, and providing for your families, and trying to run on, you know, minuscule amount of sleep and still doing it, and doing it so well, because at the current moment my daughter seems to be either waking up during the night, or she wakes up at silly o'clock in the mornings. So it's like me and my wife are barely getting any sleep, and this has been the case for probably about three weeks now, maybe 4. And I am slowly running out of energy, like slowly really running out of energy. So I mean, I know, like, some of my friends that I know, you know, their parents as well. So our friends Michelle and Alex, you know, they hold jobs, they both hold jobs, and they've got their little one, and, you know, not the easiest child that they've got to deal with, but they do it, and they're doing so well. And I cannot praise them highly enough for what they do and how they provide for their family, because they are extremely wonderful parents. And yeah, sorry, they are extremely wonderful parents, and we keep telling them this, but you know, it's always nice to hear. So again, hats off to you both, because you're doing really well. I know your little one's not the easiest to deal with, so knowing that Ren isn't easy to deal with, and that you're doing more than what we are in your lives, that, you know, to be holding it all together like you're doing extremely well. So definitely hats off to yous. And, you know, I also know somebody else that that I've known since primary school, you know, and she had a little girl that's about 6 months older than what Ren is, and last year her and her partner also welcomed another little one into the world. So, you know, she's got two kids to deal with, and especially one that's, you know, the same age as, well, around the same age as Ren, a little bit older, and, you know, another baby in the house. And well, the child's now, you know, coming on to nearly a year old, but even still, I know what Ren was like at that age, and I can't imagine having a child Ren's age and another baby in the house as well. So to both her and her partner, you know, again, a massive hats off to them, because, you know, they're both going out and providing as well. And, you know, I know that My friend, she suffers from poor mental health as well. You know, so if you'd watch my mental health video, obviously I never mentioned my friend in this video, but she went through a really dark place at one point, and she actually wrote me a goodbye message, because she was so intent on, this was before she had kids, that she was so intent on not wanting to be here anymore that she sent the message to me, and I believe I was the only one to receive that message. But I did what I would do for any friend. I dropped everything and I searched the entire local area. I searched within, I think it was about a 20-mile radius to find her. I had to, you know, call the police and get them involved, and I kept reaching out to her, and eventually she told me where she was, and the police went to that location, got her the help she needed, and I went a few days later and picked her up from the hospital. And you know, I know how appreciative she is now that I was there for her and I did what I did, because she's got 2 amazing kids and they are so gorgeous, and she's got, you know, an amazing partner. She is really happy in where she is now, and you know, I'm just glad that she got to that happy place, because she deserved it. And you know, hats off to her for coming through all of that and still battling with mental health. It's not a thing that's a quick fix, I know this, and you know, it's again, hats off to her for, you know, dealing with all that and starting her family and dealing with everything that the family life throws at her, and actually going out and doing something she enjoys to provide for her family. And then she's got a second job that, you know, she doesn't enjoy as much. She doesn't do that one for enjoyment. She does that purely to get money in to help her partner and to help pay for the bills and raise her 2 wonderful daughters. So, you know, I very much look up to, you know, both sets of friends that we've got that are parents now, and you know, I know that we're doing a grand job with Ren, but to look up to these types of friends that we've got, to see and to know how they deal with their lives and how they deal with their little ones, you know, it's nice to have people that, you know, we can look up to, that we can talk to, and people who can understand what we're going through. But every parent goes through this, and you know, like I say, this is just an appreciation video for all the parents out there, for all the sleep deprived parents, for all the parents that feel like they're not doing good enough, for all the parents that, you know, are going out and providing for their families, for their kids, you know, for having that go through tough times. It's, you know, we're all in the same boat. It's all kids are different, but parents, we're all in the same boat. We're all on the same ship, and the parenthood ship is a difficult ship to navigate. It's, you know, you go through treacherous waters, you go through storms and different, you know, types of environments, and you know, it's all about, and we deal with it, and we make sure that our ship doesn't capsize. You know, we steer our ship through storms and through these waves and huge waves of life that we've got to contend with, and you know, we come out on the other side to a little bit of calm, and it's calm that we need, but then we go through another storm, more waves of life and things that could, you know, capsize our ship, but we stay strong. And yeah, I appreciate every parent that is out there, and I appreciate everything that parents do, because as a new parent, as a parent of a toddler myself, it's, you know, I take my hat off to any parent. I take my hat off to my mum and dad when they had us as kids, because my mum and dad had me and my brother. My mum and dad had 2 kids under the age of 2, and then my sister came along and they had, you know, 2 kids under the age of 7 and a new Jesus. I don't know if that van was letting out that truck, that lorry there, the HGV, but well, he kind of had to let him out because HGV came out into the second lane. But no, anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked there. Yeah, no, so my mum and dad had 2 kids under the age of 7 and a child, a new baby in the house. So I don't know how they coped, and I will always take my hat off to my mum and dad for providing for us and finding the time to be providers and parents, because it must have been difficult. And if I can emulate as much, you know, if me and my wife can emulate as much as, you know, it was for my parents or her parents to raise kids, then, you know, I'll be proud of the parent that I become. And I'm sure my wife would be proud of the parent she becomes if she can emulate just as much as her mum and dad could do. I would also like to take this moment to, you know, give a hats off and show how much appreciation I have for my wife Bex, because it may seem like, you know, she does a lot, and I know I do a lot of the physical work with our daughter, but she does a lot with Ren as well. It's, you know, she's a great mum, she's a great wife, and I couldn't deal with everything that I deal with without her by my side. She stuck by me through thick and thin. She, you know, she understands that I'm not in always the best space and place of mind, and, you know, she sticks by me. She is the greatest mother that Ren could ever have, and she does so much for us, and I wouldn't be able to be as good a dad as I am to Ren without Bex by my side. So, you know, I just want to show my appreciation on video of it, because I've shown my appreciation for, you know, my friends that are parents and how they cope with their little ones. And, you know, I just want to take my hat off to my wife and show my appreciation to how much she does for our family, how much she does for Ren. And it's not often seen how much she does for us, but I want her to know that I see what she does, and I appreciate everything that she does. I appreciate that she handles a lot of the things in the house, you know, because I struggle with that. and I struggle with that a lot at the moment with my mental health. She sorts out all the money side of things and the bills, and you know, she takes that stress off of me. She, you know, is so much more money savvy than she was 4 years ago, and I think that has become part and parcel of becoming a mum and having to deal with the finances, because I've not been mentally well enough to be able to deal with them. I would have, you know, I would try working out and I would have a breakdown over it. I would have a mental breakdown. I couldn't deal with that because it was too much stress. I found it was too much stress, and she's taken the reins and she's done a hell of a great job, because we wouldn't be able to afford the holiday that we're managing to go on this year. We wouldn't have managed to go on the trips down to see family in England if it wasn't for her working out money and sorting out all the finances, you know. So I do appreciate everything that she's done for our family, and she doesn't get the praise often enough. So I just want to, you know, take a public and say it on video that I appreciate how much my wife does for me and our family. Are you letting me go? Yes, but you didn't let me know. So how am I meant to be a f***ing mind reader, am I? But no, I really do take my hat off to my wife, and I appreciate her wholeheartedly. I love her more than I can ever express, and you know, I can't wait to spend the rest of my future with her. And I really do hope that, you know, we can grow old together and watch our daughter grow up together as a cohesive family unit, because that's all I want. That's all I want from my life. I've got everything I could ever want. I've got a beautiful wife, I've got a beautiful daughter, I've got a beautiful family, I've got Ralphie who completes our family as well, and I've got a beautiful place, a beautiful house in Scotland. I live in a beautiful area. I have some wonderful friends. I've got, you know, I've got a wonderful neighbour that Ren loves and adores, and I've obviously got my family up here. My family up here are aging, so you know, I've got my granny who, you know, absolutely adores Ren, and she's doing quite well, but health wise she's struggling. You know, I've got my mum and dad up here. I've got my brother who again absolutely adores his niece and can't wait to go on holiday with us and spend time with her. That's what he said to me and said to us publicly, that, you know, he can't wait to spend all that time with Ren, with us and with us, but mostly with Ren. He can't wait to see her face when we take her on holiday. So yeah, I've got a lot of people up here, and I am in the happiest place that I'm at, and all I can wish for now is that my mental health gets better in time and that I am able to deal with it more. Yes, okay, there's been struggles recently with family and with my marriage, but we're working on that. And if I can just, you know, keep the level of marriage and happiness that I've got in my marriage at the moment with my wife, and grow old and watch our daughter grow with my wife as a family. That's all I can ask for. So yeah, that's all I can ever ask for. That's all I can want. And you know, I just want to, again, for the final time, I just want to take my hat off to all the parents out there that are doing the greatest job that they can. I know that there are some parents that co-parent, that, you know, they're not together anymore because of the strain of parenthood and, you know, the strain that puts on relationships. You know, it's nearly happened with me and my wife. So, you know, I take my hat off to all the parents out there, all the parents that aren't in a relationship anymore, all the parents that are divorced, that are doing the best for their kids, and all the parents that are managing to stick together through thick and thin. You know, all the mums that are single mums that parent on their own, all the dads that are single dads that parent on their own. You know, everyone that is a parent, man, woman, male, female, anybody that's, you know, a parent, I take my hat off to you, and I just want to say you're doing the best job for your kids, and I hope you know that. But I'm going to end today's video here. So much love to everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Adios. I don't really know what else to say now. Obviously I'm going to cut this part of the video because I'm just waffling on and on and on, but you know,